So I'm going to go old school on you, but hopefully it'll be informative and you'll glean something from it. So yeah, I'm Pamela, and I was part of the first English cohort to do the Montessori therapy in Germany. It was amazing. Met so many wonderful people, learned so many wonderful things that I now use. Melanie and Yuli were phenomenal, along with Letitia and Aaron and Katie and Kelly, who is a former coworker of mine. And so we did this together. And just like she said, we both were in our separate classrooms, but read the email almost exactly the same time. And both of us got the same reaction, like, oh my gosh, we need to do this. And unbeknownst to both of us, that we were thinking that at the same time. Like, so it just was amazing. I've been teaching for over 30 years. I've been Montessori close to 28 years now. I'm sorry, so Montessori 28 years, but teaching a little bit longer. I'm also language therapy trained, so the Montessori therapy just felt right for me. And so my talk is just going to be on being overwhelmed and where to start, because when I uh, I worked with one of my students during the training, and I asked the parents, could I also implement some of Montessori therapy with the tutoring that I'm going to do with their son? And they said, sure. I did explain a little bit to them, because my biggest thing was how to go from teaching in the classroom, like thinking like a teacher, into thinking like a therapist. And that switch was a little bit challenging for me at the beginning. So any opportunity that I could gain to implement it, it was, valuable for me. So to go back, I before we went to Germany in March to graduate, I had already been introduced to a family who wanted me to do Montessori therapy with their son. They already understood what intervention meant. Um, and so I explained to them that I was going to go to Germany to graduate. Upon coming back, I will look over everything and then get back with them. So my part for being overwhelmed was to think, what am I doing? Who told me I could do this? Like, what makes me think I can even do this? Even though I've gone through the training, um, graduated, I still was like, I'm not a therapist. Like, I can't do this. Um, so my question was to myself was, where do I start and how can I help? And so for me, it was, I just kind of thought about the uh, keep everything simple, but I changed it to keep everything simple therapy, and and then what I could build on from what I already knew. And so from the training, we learned about the anamnesis, which is for us in English would just be the evaluation, the evaluation of the child through the diagnosis. So I just started from there and the initial interview, and it kind of piggybacks on what Aaron was talking about meeting with the parents. So I read his evaluation upon getting back from Germany and read it 3 times to just calm myself down and to think, okay, I know this because I've gone through the training of it. I already knew some of what evaluations would tell me and all of that. So I just took it from there and I wrote up a plan. And once I felt comfortable with that plan, based on the Montessori materials I could use, based on what the child needed, I called the parents and I said, I believe I can help your son. So let's set up an interview. So we set up the interview, And for me, the interview, like Aaron said, is so invaluable because it gave me even more information that I could use to either decide, do I want to change or modify the plan that I already written out, or do I want to continue with that? And then we also set goals for the child. And this particular child was attention deficit with anxiety and some other issues and challenges. But the main thing that we wanted to focus on, the school, the parents, and based on the evaluation, and then what I wanted to do is to just get this child is calm or at peace with where he was. Um, he was starting to have anger issues. And so for me, I get goosebumps just even thinking about it, because to me, I was overwhelmed at this the thought of it, but everything falls into place with the training that we have. Even if you're not Montessori therapy trained, there's things fall into place. Like you can just see, it's just getting, when somebody brought up peace, it's just getting this child back to a calmness and a peace so that he can then do whatever the demands are that we're asking for. So that's where I started. And so that's what gave me the clear definition of that. I can do this. I can help this child. And so I learned some other things, like I said, through the interview. And and so from there, I just went to my basics, the basic skills of building on this child's story, because that's how I also looked at it. The parents were the author, so was he. Um, and now I'm just kind of helping to co-write a little bit more of his story. And so based on what he liked, he loves math and was very good at math. Um, and then he also loves sports. And so I kind of took those two things and went from there and collected other data based on the teachers and the child himself, because I did meet with the child before the first session. And then I also realized that I had to build on his confidence, but also my confidence. Again, based on what I already knew and what I could learn. And so, as a Montessori uh, educator, I guess as an educator in general, we're always open to learning and we can always learn from each other. And I remember putting out through our WhatsApp to my colleagues, my therapy colleagues from Germany, just getting input. And I got so much feedback and so much good information that I, again, just built on my confidence from that. And so from there, I just set up what the environment was going to look like. And that's so important also, that prepared environment. So uh, I knew where I was going to be working with him in the school, what classroom I was going to be working in. And so I point that out because that first classroom that I worked in with him, I knew wouldn't benefit him in the long run. So I asked the school, could I move to another room? And fortunately, they had two other rooms that I could move into that were, the first room just had too much things in it. It was like a home ec room. It had sewing machines, and it was a lovely room, but I just felt like it was too big. Also, I felt like we needed a more intimate um, room, meaning a smaller room. It didn't sound right, intimate, but a smaller room that didn't have the distractions in it for him. And believe it or not, I saw the difference when we moved to that room, just immediately, just in his body language, just in his engagement and everything. That first meeting was great, but it wasn't what I knew he would need. And to be honest, what I would need also, because again, I feel like that's part of the environment, the teacher, the presenter. We also need to, I think somebody mentioned this, to present that calm and inviting and engaging and slowing down. um, uh, atmosphere in the environment. Um, and so from there, I had some of his favorites. I had some of my favorites of the Montessori materials. And so we just went from there. And I remember that maybe the second or third meeting with him that I was doing a checkerboard with him. That was one of my favorites. And it was just something he needed because he also needed to work on his tracking with the eyes. Like I said, there were other things that I knew I wanted to work on with him. So the checkerboard just works beautifully with that. If those of us who know what that is, hopefully, I wanted to have pictures, but I didn't know how to get all that up. But the checkerboard in Montessori, for those of you who don't know, it's a checkerboard and it comes in the colors green, blue, and red. And from that, you can build numbers from the units to tens, hundreds, and all of that. So this child is not Montessori, but he picked up on that beautifully. And one of the things that he said to me at the end of that session was that, you know, 3 and 30 are the same thing. I said, really? I said, how so? And so we went through this, and he just kept trying to convince to me that 3 and 30 are the same. But I showed him or not so much I showed him, but he discovered because we just kept going over it. When that 3 decanomial bead is on the units, that's 3, and that's all it is. And you can look around the board and see there's nothing else on the board but that 3. But if we move it to the tens place, there's now a 3 in that place, but that unit place is still there. It just has a 0 in it. And so just from that, we just kept going over and over that. And he finally got it. And we also worked on doing some actual calculations of that. But he actually remembered that a few sessions or a couple of months later when we were doing some work. And he goes, do you remember when I thought 3 and 30 were the same? I said, I know, I remember that. He's like, I don't know how I thought that. I said, well, it's okay. Now we know. And so we just go from there. But he's had a lot of those moments. And I think too, if anything to take from this as well, is that it doesn't have to be a rush. And it doesn't have to be a moment like, oh my gosh, this kid thinks 3 and 30 are the same. It's where they are, and it's where they're learning and where they're having that discovery. And we just keep building on that. Like I said, it's just their story that we're building on. And so this child now has scored the best on his reading comprehension was also his real challenge as far as the academics. And he has scored so well on those tests. He just keeps moving on. His demeanor is so positive now. Like he doesn't complain about things that he used to complain about. Being in the classroom, knowing that he felt like he should have been higher, but he wasn't, and he knew he wasn't as high because his language or reading scores were low. Well, now he doesn't have that anxiety or that complaint. He just knows he wants to work hard. He loves doing um, the reading comprehension and inferencing because he also had one of those aha moments that he thought something was the answer and it wasn't. And he's like, how did I think that was the answer? And I was like, well, we got to infer. Let's use our inferencing skills. So he's building on all of that. And then the last session I just had with him, he he said to me, he goes, you know, you haven't done matching with me. He goes, are we going to do some matching? And I said, well, I've had that work, but you know, we just didn't pick it. Like you didn't pick it, and I didn't pick it for you as well. I said, but I have some, and I'll bring that for you the next time because he's now working on um, one of the items that I took from the training from one of our presenters was the bins and tens. And so I have now adapted that to be kind of a core work that I do with the kids. And it's 12 little bins that he has to open and then look at what's in the item and then put the top. All of it is Montessori based also because he has to put the top. Everything has to be put a certain way, simple, but just in a certain way. And then each step helps him to work on slowing his pace down, work on his pencil grip because he had to work on that. Um, Noting what items are. And I'll have different things like I'll have seasonal items in there. And he has to kind of figure out like each time now he has to figure out, well, what's the season or what's the theme of it. So there's a lot of things that can go into that. It starts off as a simple, just opening up a tin, seeing what's in it, engaging their attention, and that sort of thing. So he has since taken that. I've been working with him for a year and a half now. Actually, yeah, just no, I'm sorry, not quite a half. We started in March, so it's a year and a couple of months, a couple of weeks. No, a couple of months. I'm sorry. Um, and so, but he has now taken that material and that activity further. And um, and so what he had to do was he had to match the deconomial beads and dice because I had those two items in each of the 12 bins. Um, and so he had to, like I said, kind of match those and then use it on the board. Some of it was fraction work because he had to work on some of that, multiplication because that's the strength of his. So that was his success aspect of it. Um, and the new learning was the fractions. And so he was doing that and he actually turned it into where he would, by the sound of the bins and the weight of it, he could guess what was in there. And so he was then trying to match them. And that's when he brought up matching. And so, again, it's just following the child, but keeping that structure and the boundaries. I think someone mentioned that as well. I think it was Melanie, um, because he knows I choose, you choose. Um, and there may be something he doesn't want to do, but we do it if it's my choice. If he doesn't choose it, it's fine. But I will sometimes say to him, well, I do need you to work on this today. Let's work on this today. And then we can work on, something he wants to. And he just falls into that and has just done so well with that. And he's even said to me, he goes, so now next year when you work with me, I'm like, well, I'm not sure, to myself, I'm thinking, well, I don't know if I'm going to be working, it's up to your parents also is what I'm thinking. But he's already got it planned out. Next year is when he's in sixth grade, what his schedule is going to be. And I have to come a certain time because he wants to make sure he wants to make sure we are still meeting, but it'll be around his sixth grade schedule. And I just thought that was so cute. But anyway, so uh but yeah, so the next, oh, I'm sorry. I think I did. Yeah, I already talked about that. Sorry. Um, so yeah, but that's what it was for me. Like I said, I've just gained confidence just throughout all of it, even though I was a veteran teacher and all of that, I still had to gain confidence in doing the therapy and what it really meant and how I can help and help the parents, help the teachers, um, and the student, and all of that's come full circle. Um, and they want me to work at the school more next year, where I would. They're going to. Um, the kids are going to be pulled out throughout the day in the morning instead of going to some of their specials, music, some of their language, like second languages like Spanish and so forth. Those kids that need that extra help, or I'll pull them from their classes and work with them, but I'll also work with the teachers because there's a oh, what do you call it? Um, it's like a support team for the students and the kids and the parents. So I'm super excited about it. Getting a little excited, heart palpitations, but um, I'm super excited about that opportunity. They also want me to do parent education. Their parents at their school have to do what they call it's a school. They call it a school, parent school, or something like that, where the parents have to come to these workshops to help them help their child and to help the school. So um, yeah, I'm excited about all of that. And I'm just gonna, like I said, just keep with the basics to not get overwhelmed. Reach out to my colleagues, um, and everything, because I'm also starting to work a little bit more with autism kids that are on the spectrum. Aaron, thank you for the encouragement for that. It's going great. I'm enjoying a lot of that, or all of it. So I just hope, I will be able to benefit the kids and the parents as well, because I see a big need for that. So yeah. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or and you can. I do have information. I'm but I can share it with Aaron, my uh, email, my information. I'm trying to think here, my email, and all of that. So I will definitely do that as well. But thank you, Aaron, for the time as well.
I just want to say that was wonderful because we like second guess ourselves so much, and it's like, oh my gosh, can I handle this situation today? But like, it's going back to the method and trusting that method. And I love how you said it built your own confidence too, because some days we're like, do we have this in us? Right? It's so normal. But even if we take it slow and steady, I feel like we're really authentically affecting. And that was so beautifully said. Thank you so much.
Ooh, I appreciate you guys. That's such a big help too. And let's see. I didn't look in the chat to see if there were any questions. And I am going to work on putting together a slide, a presentation of some of the work that I do, just how the materials work. I love Yuli's material. In fact, I'm going to take some of what she's done and use it for that, because, and this is just a thought that I'm putting out to everybody now. I think some of those works that you are doing, Yuli, would help with kids with autism. And I think somebody mentioned that. Like some of it is just um, the tactile, like just the buttoning of the clothes or the zippers. I think it would help with the sensorial nature of some of that as well. But anyway, that's just a thought. If anybody can wants
Yeah,
to give,
absolutely. I agree. There are so much similarities, and we have to open our minds and adapt the materials for the need that the person, if it is a child or adolescent or a person with autism or what else, it's
yeah,
our job to adapt the materials and to see and to prepare the environment so the person can choose the perfect material for them. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
you.
I don't know if it's appropriate for me to call her out, but there is an autism expert right here. Michelle is here, so I don't know if you have her info, but she's has a whole series of things. She's been doing this for decades. She's an absolute pioneer in this work of Montessori and autism, and uh,
Is there a way we can get her information
she
too,
can't
or
speak right now, but yes, you can get it through Catherine Massey, and I can maybe share if she's okay with it. But yeah, so there are people out here who can help you as well. So don't worry, you're not on your own. It's gonna feel just like the Montessori therapy experience you described. At first, you had it in you, you didn't know it, and then you did, and then you did know it. So it's like it was already there. You had all the information, and then the more you practice, then the more you become confident, and here you are. Now you're sharing out to others.
yes? Thank you so much. I was trying to react to everybody's uh, messages, so but I'm not again. I'm not savvy. I'm working on that too. I'm gaining my. Some of you would be proud of me. of what I've been able to do, but I'm still working through it. I Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I was just looking to see if there was any questions, but I'm not sure. So hopefully, if you do have any questions, you can just reach out to Erin and then just get back, and we'll somehow get the information to you. But thank you. Oh, oh yeah. Oh yes, my email. Okay. Let's see. That I can put in. I will get that in here. Ooh, I have two that I will get. And then my other one is okay. I think I'm getting these up. There we go. Oops. Okay, there we go. Just share that in the chat. Hopefully, everyone. Okay. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine.